Hi there, and welcome to the latest edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast. Hi there, and welcome to this week's Weekly Gersnet Podcast with your host, Colin Armstrong, the only podcast that has piqued the Rangers fan who can't pronounce Pedro Caixinha. On the podcast this week, we've got the boss. The boss is in, so I need to behave, or I'll get my wrist slapped. It's Stuart Franklin. How are you doing, Stuart?
Very well, thanks, Colin. Bit under the weather the last few days with a cold. Yesterday's result didn't help.
With the man flu?
Unfortunately, just in time for going back to work tomorrow. Actually, I've been on holiday this week and a bit choked, but I feel a bit better today, thank goodness.
Can we call it man flu now, actually, with this gender fluidity thing?
I'm definitely all man. I can do that.
That's an exclusive.
Well, I'm hoping that's the case. My wife might beg to differ, but we'll not. No ask.
No, that's quite a start to this week's show. I must admit, I'm quite impressed with that. And going with the gender neutral sort of aspect, we've got a female contributor this week, and it's Christine. How are you doing, Christine?
I'm okay, but I don't know about the gender neutral thing. I mean, I'm all women. If Frankie can be all man, then I'm all women.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean gender neutral. I meant gender equality.
I only get the flu.
You only get the flu. You don't get the man flu. No, the man flu is worse. I know because it's a lot worse. It's a lot worse. It's way worse than that normal flu. It's pretty grim, as Frankie will tell you. You know. Anyway, a bit of a grim week for Rangers. We're recording this a day later than normal, so we've had a wee bit of time to digest the shambles at Dens Park yesterday. A really strange week because it all went so well at Tynecastle last week. Put out a big statement, went top of the league, put out a statement that said, we're in this title race, we can win it. And then on Wednesday and on Sunday, we make two bigger statements that sort of suggest, no, we're not in this title race and we're not going to challenge. So a really, really frustrating week. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the Dundee game from Sunday. We'll have a wee look at the Rapid Vienna game on Thursday, the final game of the group stages of the Europa League. And we'll have a wee look at some of the refereeing decisions that have, the referees have been in the headlines a lot recently. So we'll have a wee look at that as well. So getting straight into it, Stuart, I'll come to you. It feels like a silly question, but I'll ask it anyway. What did you make of the overall performance on Sunday at Dens?
Well, it was very poor, wasn't it? The first half, not too bad. Just ironically, basically, as soon as Dundee went down to 10 men, I mean, we just stopped playing. They started to park the defence and park the bus, which is their right. Aberdeen did the same for most of the game on Wednesday, and we just lacked any imagination whatsoever. And the second half, you thought, well, fingers crossed we'll come out and do the business. Unfortunately, I think we did have one shot and goal from Ryan Jack of all people, and I think that pretty much sums it up. It was woeful. Wednesday night was woeful, and it's very difficult to find any positives from the last few days.
Yeah, and you know what really worries me about this? I think these performances have littered sort of Gerrard's reign. We had the sort of Livingston game, we had the semi-final against Aberdeen. We've had Sunday there, then the Aberdeen game last week. If you look through the season, there has been more than one of these types of performances where they've really lacked anything. Side to side all day on Sunday, back the way, side to side. No real forward momentum, no real guile or creativity. And I think if you have one of those performances, sort of 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 12, you can understand that. Players are human beings after all. They're going to feel jaded and tired, and every now and again you're going to get a stinker of performance. But these are happening a wee bit too often for my liking, and I'm genuinely starting to get quite concerned about the direction of sort of travel at the moment with Rangers. These performances are becoming too common. Christine, coming over to you, I don't know how you feel about it, but I've found Steven Gerrard's constant sort of tinkering his back four a bit frustration, especially the central defensive pairing. Do you think he maybe needs to find his best two and just stick with them for a while?
I think he does, actually. But then we'll be sitting discussing, well, who are his best two? I certainly have to say that at the start of the season, Goldson and Cartage, I thought, we've got this sorted now. You know, we're very hard to beat. Cartage is even, he was even, scoring his fair share of goals at the start of the season, and then he had his injury and not really been the same since. So I don't know. Worrell, I'm just not so keen on, and I hate slagging off players, but I think he's made it quite clear that he doesn't really want to be here. And so I would rather he wasn't in the team and give a place to somebody that does want to be here.
Yeah, I found, I agree with you. I thought the centre defensive pairing at the start of the season, Goldson and Cartage, looked solid. And we had a few games early doors in the European campaign that, we had to deal with a lot of pressure, especially away from home, and we dealt with it, And I found it strange when Cartage sort of fell out of the team. I think the first game was against Villarreal away, fell out of the team, and he brought in Worrell. And then there's just been, it's not even just the personnel, he's changing which side they play on. Sometimes Goldson's on the left side, sometimes he's on the right side. And I always feel the team I always go back to is the team that Big Eck had when we won the title in 2003. And my argument's always been that Rangers won that title with a five-a-side team because they had a solid spine: Kloss, Craig Moore, Amoruso, Barry Ferguson, and Ronald de Boer. That was the spine of that team. Everyone in and round about it could change, but those five guys, they were in there week in, week out. And I just don't see that in this current team. Other than McGregor and Morelos, I don't see anyone in the centre of the midfield that's dominating games, and a centre defensive pairing. Well, from one game to the next, you don't know who it's going to be. So yeah, I find it quite frustrating, and I agree with most of what you said there. Stuart, coming back to you, obviously the victory at Hearts last week, me and the boy were watching it in the house, and when the final whistle went, with proper punch the air stuff, really over the moon with it. So to do that, and then to go on to lose to Aberdeen, and then obviously the result on Sunday there. I spoke about this before in the podcast, this strong mentality, about being able to play for a club like Rangers. Do you think that's part of the problem with this side? That, because I feel when there's a slight underdog element to Rangers, in Europe and all the rest of it, when there's not that much expectation and there's a feeling that they're up against it, they always pull a performance out their arse, but when there's a level of expectation there, a lot of times they flounder a wee bit.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think we're still quite a young team, not just in terms of age, which they are still young age-wise as well, but in terms of young manager, young management team, a lot of the players are young, and just as I say, we're just developing. So I don't think it's entirely surprising that we're inconsistent. And I think already this season we've played 32 games, so it's probably not a surprise we're actually looking a bit jaded. I think the issue is at that point you're looking to make changes to the team, and the manager did that on Sunday, obviously, and this is where you're looking for guys like Lafferty and Gresda and Rossiter to come into the team and really do the business and say, hold it, let's, to guys like Morelos, and I'm here to stake a claim. Gresda to guys like Candias, I'm better than you, I can not just create, I can score goals, I can do it on both sides. But instead, Gresda, first 20 minutes or so, looked decent. After half time, I don't think he controlled the ball once. I think every second touch was a Dundee player because he just kept knocking it to them. Lafferty is similar. I think the first half he did quite well. Second half didn't really get very much service, to be fair to him, but his decision making was awful. When he did get the ball, he was shooting from, like in the first half, I think he shot from the corner flag at one point, and I'm all for confidence, but that's just silly. Rossiter I thought was one positive. I thought he did actually fairly well in the first half. Fell out the game probably understandably after half time, probably just tired through lack of games. But I think in the first half, although we're sort of probably considered more of a defensive midfielder, he got forward quite well. He was actually popping up on the sort of left channel, and although a couple of crosses he put in weren't great, at least he was trying to get past the striker, or at least support the striker, and we've seen him do that at Easter Road at the tail end of last season when he scored a goal. So I think that was one positive. But generally speaking, the manager will be annoyed that I think he's got 11 players, maybe 13 players that are doing okay. But unfortunately, the last two games, every single one of them has let them down. And it's not often a team like Rangers or Celtic will have the vast majority of the team play badly. You'll normally always have one or two players you think, well, he did well, and that hasn't happened in the last two games, and that's the biggest worry for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that's sort of following in with what I was saying earlier on. These performances are becoming a wee bit more frequent. As I said, when Gerrard first came in, we had a run of good sort of performances and results. And then I'm trying to think the first real bad one was Livingston. That was the first one where we really, really struggled. And then they've just slowly but surely, every sort of 3-4 games, these performances, they tend to be away from home. Obviously Aberdeen on Wednesday was the first one where we felt it at Ibrox. And I just feel in general that these performances are becoming a wee bit more frequent. And for me, that's a worry. Christine, I have to slightly disagree with some of the stuff that Stuart was saying there about Rossiter and all the rest of it. I think there's a few players now, like, say, Ryan Jack, Ovie Egeria, Rossiter himself, even Daniel Candias, who are, in my opinion, decent enough players, but not quite showing enough, to warrant playing for Rangers. I think they're sort of one good game in 5, if that's a good way of describing it. So do you feel that maybe time, I mean, I know Gerrard came out with his sort of post-match comments saying that he's trusted some of his players and maybe he was wrong to do that. It was almost as if he was saying time's running out in a few of them. Do you think that's the case? I think there's a few guys in there now who have, they're maybe on their way out in some time soon?
It's hard to know without being inside to Stephen Gerrard's head, just who he's talking about in these ones. I think Ryan Jack, maybe you've been a wee bit unfair in him. I think he can be superb if he's playing in the right role. And he's been slightly inconsistent, I suppose, because of the lack of games this season. He's been in and out. Same with Candias to a certain extent, although more recently, certainly he's been playing more regularly. I don't know. It's one of these strange things that nobody can quite fathom. When you see how good they can be in some games, it's just really inexplicable why in other games, and it seems to affect the whole team. I mean, I think you were saying earlier about the passing back, sideways passing, and it seems to be all about let's just get it to the wing and cross it into the box, and there's your defenders all ready to just head it away, and that's it. And it seems to be the last 2 games especially, that's all we've tried. That I'm struggling to remember a point yesterday whereby we tried something a little bit different.
Yeah,
get it to the wing, cross it to the box, and nobody's there apart from, as I said, the defenders from the other team. And we don't try and do anything different from that.
No, yeah. And that's the thing I find frustrating. It's just, it seems to be take one touch to receive the ball and move it on. Take one touch to receive the ball, move it on. The amount of times on Wednesday night, the central defenders who had the ball, there was loads of space because Aberdeen were sitting quite deep. There was loads of space for them to run into. And they would run maybe 5 yards and then stop and pass it sideways. And another thing that annoys me is see any time the likes of Middleton and slight defence of Candias, any time the likes of Candias or Middleton get the ball, it's never inside the fullback. It's always outside the fullback, meaning that either Candias or Middleton have got to try and beat their man. You know what I mean? What happened to a midfielder, playing a defence splitting pass between a centre half and a fullback to allow the winger to run onto it. It's just basic stuff, I think, and it's quite frustrating. It really is frustrating, and I don't, as you say, like games against Hearts. I mean, the Hearts game was a great performance. The Motherwell game, I know they were down to 10, but I mean, Rangers were relentless that day. There has been signs that we are on our day, a really, really good side. So that's inconsistency. That's what makes it all the more frustrating in my book.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just the fact that our expectations are too high. I'm reading somewhere that we've actually got less points at the moment than we did last season. Don't know whether that's true or not. And maybe we're still in contention because Celtic are dropping so many points.
Yeah, I think that is the case. We're not. I don't think we're any better off points wise than we were last season.
We're not. But it's just, you think, even what I've noticed as well is the wingers, they want to stop and get the ball played to them rather than just run into space and collect the ball. They just seem to want to stop and have somebody, maybe it's frightened they get caught offside. I don't know what it is, but it's...
No, they're not running in behind. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
That's what you were talking about, yeah.
There's no one's playing a ball between the centre half and the full back to allow, and maybe that's part of the reason why. Maybe the wingers aren't in the right position. I don't know.
They seem to be holding back rather than running on to collect the ball in front of them. They just seem to stop. I've noticed it a couple of times where
Sorry to cut across you, Christine. To be fair, on yesterday, in the first half, we were playing the balls into channels and in behind. As I mentioned, Rossiter, Kent got in behind a couple of times, as did Lafferty. The goalkeeper made a good save. And obviously, the goal that was disallowed, that came from a good ball for Tav into a wide area as well. So we were doing it the first half.
First half, yeah, but the second half...
because there was... Dundee went sat so deep, and Aberdeen did the same. Even before they went to 10 men on Wednesday, as soon as they scored, they sat really, really deep, so that the ball in behind wasn't on, and that's why we struggled, because we were looking to play that ball and we couldn't do it. We did try it once or twice. Yesterday, Jara did one that just went out, and then there was one that went through into the channel for Gersnet, where it came off the Dundee player's hand, which was a clear penalty kick actually. And so we were trying to do it. It's just the problem is we don't move the ball quick enough, and because we lose that tempo, teams they sit in, and we're very easy to defend against, because we end up, as Christine says, the ball goes wide, it gets knocked in. Invariably the cross isn't great anyway, and even if it is great, we've only got one man in there against 5 or 6 defenders, so the odds of reaching our player and us scoring are incredibly low. So the lack of imagination to try and change things was really frustrating for me. I mean, on Wednesday and yesterday, how we finished with Goldson and McCauley on Wednesday, and Goldson and Worrell yesterday was beyond me, because as much as Ross McCrory is not a fantastic player and certainly not a fantastic centre half, he would have been much better in that situation, because he's much more mobile. He could take the ball and he could have ran into the space and moved forward quicker, as Christine was talking about, and then committed a man from the defences, which would then in turn create space for another player like a Gersnet or Candias, and that's what frustrated me most, is we're relying on our centre halves being playmakers, and you're never going to win games if you're thinking Connor Goldson is going to be the main man to create chances for you. Never going to happen.
Overall, Stuart, I do think there's a general lack of, I don't know if it's a fear, I don't know what it is, but you do, especially in games like yesterday when a team are down to 10 and they're coming into that second half quite fearful. Just being brave enough to take a man on, as you say, because the minute you take a man on and beat him, then someone else has to move out of position to come and meet you. You know what I mean? So that's the only way, in my opinion anyway, that you get any joy against teams that are sitting in. You have to actually try and commit them. You know what I mean? You have to go at them. That's playing in front of them, which is what Rangers done on Wednesday night and yesterday, especially in the second half. Just side to side, back the way, side to side, out to the wing. Winger doesn't get past the full back, side to side. I think teams, if the ball's in front of them, teams will do that all day. You have to find a way to turn defenders and turn fullbacks and create a wee bit of chaos. And I just don't think there's enough of that in Rangers at the moment. But hopefully it'll sort itself out. But I must admit, I'm quite concerned at the moment. Speaking of the wingers, Stuart, we've discussed Middleton. He's only young. He's only 18. I think his form over the last couple of months has dipped. When he first came in, he really made an impact. Really direct player, going past fullbacks, getting in really, really good crosses. Don't think he's getting past players quite as easy now. And I felt it on Wednesday night. I was slightly late getting into the game. I got in about 10 minutes after the kick-off. I actually missed the goal. I missed Aberdeen's goal. And the minute I walked in, I felt it. I felt the tension and the groans and and that's when I think it becomes quite difficult to play for Rangers, because you have to be you've got to be mentally strong enough to deal with that. 40,000 people shouting at you to do it quicker and score a goal, that's rubbish. And, I think at 18, I just sometimes wonder, is it worthwhile taking somebody like that out of a situation like that and protecting them a wee bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're asking far too much of Middleton to change games when other players aren't doing it for us, more senior players and more experienced players. Middleton's done fine. I think you used the right word, which was impact. I think is better for the bench, actually. To be fair, his set pieces are good, but I think he's a much more effective player when he comes on against teams that are tiring, just because his pace is direct, possibly a bit too one-dimensional at times. And I think that probably cost us against Aberdeen and yesterday, who both Aberdeen and Dundee, I think the right backs are quite good. Shea Logan's not a bad player. And is it Cammy Kerr that plays right back for Dundee, or Cammy Smith? I forget his second name, but I think he's a tidy player as well. And it showed. Middleton, I don't think he beat him once. His crossing wasn't great. And in some respects, when Barisic came on, they seemed to sort of cancel each other out as well, because they were both trying to do the same thing. They're both really left-footed. And it wouldn't have been an idea to put Gresdale on the left side, who could have cut inside and gave Barisic an out ball, and instead.
To be fair to Barisic, I thought he got a couple of good crosses on yesterday.
He did, but again, it's the same. I mean, I think if you're asking a guy that's been out for 3 months to come on and change a game, it's never going to happen. It was all about getting minutes for Barisic yesterday, and just hopefully getting the bonus of the 3 points as well. And unfortunately, that didn't come. As I say, we're now getting. I mean, who else do you play on the left? You've got Middleton. Now Kent was playing yesterday, but the manager says he felt something, so that's why he took him off. So he might be out again for another week or two. It might well be that we stick with Hardy at left back and play Barisic further forward. I think we also need to decide what Gresda's best position is. Just now, he seems to be sort of floating around the front line, and either one or the other. He doesn't seem to be doing very well on the left side, the right side, or centrally. So I think we need to pick one side and stick him there and give him a few weeks. And so maybe he'll have to play on the left. Candias is probably a guaranteed pick most times on the right-hand side, which is fine, because I think his defensive work and his overall work rate is something that we don't really want to miss out on. It's a shame, because if the rest of the team's not playing well, then he can look weak, because as much as he creates a lot of goals, his crossing isn't always fantastic. He doesn't always get the ball in early enough at times.
I think David on the pod before had made a good point about Candias as well. He'd said that he's quite one-dimensional in beating players, and I think that's a valid point. There's been a few times I've seen Candias, we've broke up the park, and I think he's slower than he looks. He looks quick, because his legs are going and he's quite wee, but I can't really recall him, in that situation, getting past the fullback and getting the cross in.
I think Gerrard's also prefers Candias to play inside rather than out wide, sort of hugging the touchline, as it were. And I think Candias is better when he does that. I think he's better when he sees the whole game in front of him. I don't think he's as good receiving the ball with his back to goal. I don't think he's as good playing inside. I think tactically the manager's got a few questions to answer, and choosing his right team or his favourite team has to be at the top of that pile. To be fair to Gerrard, he's lost Arfield and Morelos, his two best players, and for the majority of the last 2 games, so that was always going to cause us problems in a creative sense. But I think at the start of the season we were all looking for another striker to be brought in. Lafferty was that man. I wasn't overly confident he would do the business, and I don't think he has. I think, again, the manager was talking before the game about discipline yesterday, and Lafferty lost the plot yesterday, lost the plot completely on Wednesday. I have no idea what he was trying to do other than get himself sent off on Wednesday. Clearly, the big lad from Roma has been a bit of a failure. So, and as much as Mark Allen's done a fairly good job, I think. I think we don't have enough creative midfield players. We've got 5 or 6 decent defensive midfielders, but we've only really got Arfield that can get into the box from deep and contribute goals. Ajara has been again, he's young, so I think it's unfair to expect too much of him and to run midfield and to run games. But I mean, he was atrocious on Wednesday, and he was really, really bad when he came on yesterday. There was one ball he took in at the edge of the box, and he just needed a quick, simple pass to Barisic, who had a free shot. I know the one you're on about. And then instead he slipped and eventually gave away a foul, and I just no idea. And to me, again, it's unfair to pick on a young lad because it's symptomatic throughout our team. Our decision making and our lack of composure at times is really, really poor. And I don't know if you put it down to naivety or inexperience or just a general lack of quality. It's an issue that's came to the fore in the last 2 games, and it's something that the manager and his staff have got to fix it very, very quickly.
Christine, Stuart mentioned Lafferty there. Now we exclusively revealed on the Gersnet podcast that he was coming back, and at that time, as Stuart pointed out, there was a few sort of groans and blah blah blah. I mean, I think he's done okay. I think he's been quite effective coming off the bench, but I think you would have to say so far. He's moved back hasn't really worked, has it?
I think he's been a big disappointment, to be perfectly honest. And I have to say, I wasn't his biggest fan when he was here before anyway. I mean, I was there at Kilmarnock that day when we won the league, and it was fabulous that day. But in general, I wasn't all that hopeful of him really making an impact with us again. And I don't think he has. He's had a couple of good games. To be fair to him, he's been out most of them. You know, he hasn't really had that many chances, so he's maybe just not got that much sharpness that he should have. But I just don't think he works as a lone striker. You know, he can't fulfil the Morelos role. I think that's it in a nutshell.
No, I would never disagree with that. I mean, in terms of as a goal threat, you know, he's not in the same sort of bracket as Morelos. However, I must admit, I expected more from him. I mean, I put an argument up at the time that, you know, it's not just on the park, it's what he's bringing in the dressing room. You know, he knows what playing for Rangers is all about, and he has maybe bringing that. That's something as supporters we don't see. We don't see how he is in the dressing room. I think McGregor brings a bit of that as well, but I have to say, on the park, overall been really, really disappointed. As I said, he had a good debut against Motherwell, got 2 goals that day. He scored a couple of games. He came off the bench and scored. I can't quite remember who they were, but yeah, Wednesday night, you know, as Stuart said, when he came on, really disappointing, and yesterday, same again. So yeah, I agree with Stuart. I think middle to front, we need a bit more guile, we need a bit more creativity, and that's something for Gerrard and his staff too.
Remember though, we've still got Game Dorrans and Jamie Murphy. I don't know when those are going to come back, but we could certainly use them as options. I was speaking to my boy about that actually, because he almost forgot about him because he went out so early, Murphy. You know, and I do think that he maybe was offering something that we're missing now. You know, because there's no denying. The boy was doing well for us, so yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think we're missing Murphy, but while he's out, we need to find other options, you know, because he's not going to be back for a while. So yeah, disappointing. Stuart, Steven Gerrard again. After the game, he was sort of, you know, he'd made his comments around some of the players were given a chance, they didn't take it. You know, he's trusted the players up until now. He's maybe regretting doing that. You know, quite stinging words. Do you think he's maybe, in public anyway, been a wee bit too critical of his players?
It's probably a hard balance to find, because you must know the fans are really upset with the last couple of games, and so that the manager has to be as well. The quality is not good enough. But it's interesting that, as I say, you give them a lot of praise after the Hearts game, and quite rightly so. And I don't know what happened on Wednesday, but the team didn't turn up whatsoever. Actually, you mentioned about tension. When you arrived, you said you were in late on Wednesday, and I thought it was quite tense before the game, and completely different from, for example, the European games. And I think that tension often transfers onto the park, and I think that sometimes isn't a big help. Whereas the European games this season, the support have been incredible, to be honest, and I think that's helped the players, and it has genuinely been the 12th man at times, and I think that was maybe missing on Wednesday, and it's something that we can look at ourselves. If we want to criticise the players and the manager, then I think it's only fair that as a support we ask questions of ourselves as well.
Well, sorry to cut in, Stuart, but the guy on Wednesday night, the guy that sits next to me on my left-hand side now, it seems to be a seat. I don't know if it's a supporters bus that has the seat. It tends to be the same guy most of the time, but there's different faces every now and again, And the guy on Wednesday, for the minute I sat down, it was nothing, but there was nothing encouraging at all coming out of his mouth. He didn't offer any support. Everything was criticism for first minute to the last. Just, and the longer the game went on, the worse it got, the louder it got, the more sort of stinging, his words were, and there was no support at all. And I think you've got a point. So I think sometimes we need to look at ourselves as supporters and ask, what are we doing to support the team?
Yeah, I think it's only fair. I think what's happened to the club in the last 6 or 7 years is it's unprecedented for Rangers fans, and for many of the young fans, especially, and guys like ourselves, who've sort of grew up and with 9 in a row and what have you. It's a tough spell to go through, and reacting in a positive way to days like yesterday and results like Wednesday is tough. It's no easy when you've grew up expecting Rangers to win all the time, and we're just a bit away from that, unfortunately. And this is where it comes back to the manager. I mean, you mentioned his effect on the players. I mean, as I said, last week he gave them a lot of praise. After the game on Wednesday, he criticised them. And interestingly, I thought he didn't do the press conference on Friday. It was Gary McAllister, so he sort of took himself out of that. So I think he's maybe said to the players, okay, now it's your chance to take the stage, as it were, and they've let him down badly. So now it's up to Gerrard and Gary McAllister especially, who's got the experience of winning and losing as a player, to really rally the troops and find improvement and raise morale. And they have to do it quickly, because I mean you've got Thursday night's game, which is a free hit for me. I mean, I think the Europa League section has been a free hit all the way through. It'd be fantastic if we could qualify, but we've got Hamilton on Sunday again at Ibrox, and it's going to be a very similar match. Hamilton's going to sit deep, and they're going to pack the defence, and they're going to play for a draw, and hopefully hit us on the counter or score off a set piece. And the fans are going to have to be patient. We're going to have to realise that it's not, by all means, 3 points isn't certain, and we've got to really back the team. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the event we don't go through in Europe as well.
I think if we don't go through, I think the majority of supporters will view it the way you said there, as a free hit, because that's kind of how I'm viewing it. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of at the stage, I know this is not how you should normally feel as a Rangers supporter. You should always want the club to do well in Europe and go as far as we possibly could. But, given the situation that you were talking about earlier on, where we're coming from, the fall that we took, coming back from that, I'm starting to get to the stage now. I'm wondering if this European thing's just a bit of a distraction, and let's get it out the road. It's helped re-establish us in that arena. A lot of the players in there know how to get through the qualifying stages now. It'll undoubtedly help us in the future, but for this season, maybe that's enough. So that's kind of how I view it. I mean, obviously I want Rangers to go through on Thursday. Any game Rangers play, I want to see them winning. But if they go out on Thursday, I don't think I would be overly disappointed, I must admit, because I think they have, bigger fish to fry closer to home, if you know what I mean. So that's just my view on it, but I wouldn't be overly disappointed if they went out on Thursday. Right, moving on. Try and talk about something a wee bit more positive now. That Europa League game against Rapid Vienna on Thursday night. Rangers need to win to progress to the last 32. And of course, if you'd offered us that at the start of the season, way back in July, when we started this European campaign, with a bit in your hand off. A wee bit of history with Rapid Vienna. I was doing a wee bit of research. This is the first time we've played there since 1964, where we put Rapid Vienna out of the European Cup. And Jim Baxter famously broke his leg and missed the following round against Inter Milan. Inter Milan won that quarter-final. They went on to beat Liverpool in the semi-final, and they beat Benfica in the final. So, a wee bit of history there over in Rapid. So, hopefully we'd get the same result because we won that the last time we were there. So looking forward to it. Christine, I'll come to you first on this one. We've not won a Europa League match since the home game against Rapid. We've not had many defeats. We've only had one defeat, but we've had quite a few draws. Given the sort of lack of victories in the group stage, do you think we can get a result in Vienna?
Well, I think first of all, we have to bear in mind that we were the fourth seeded team in that group. And I think we've done probably better than most of us would have expected, to be perfectly honest, if you compare it with last year's European fiasco. So I think we can, depending on what team turns up, I think we can do it. But it's a big ask.
Do you want to do it, given the yes. Domestic? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a wee bit like you. It wouldn't be breaking my heart if we don't do it. I would prefer it to be down to our result and not, somebody else that puts us out, another game puts us out. I don't know whether that can actually happen or not, or whether it is all down to...
I'm pretty sure if Rangers win on they're through.
Yeah, so what if we draw?
We needed 4 points from our last 2 games. So right. if we got the win in the previous game against Villarreal, we would have only needed a draw on Thursday. We got the draw against Villarreal, so we need to win. So if we win, we're through.
Well, like you, I can't ever watch a Rangers game and not want us to win it. So of course I'll be wanting us to win it. If we don't, hey, we've given it a good shot and we've done better than we hoped. We've put a few more million quid into the coffers, and it can. I don't think we can look back on it as being anything but positive.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've loved every minute of this European campaign. Seeing us back in that arena, it was really. I think the group stage has been a wee bit different. I think, as Stuart said earlier on, it's been like a bit of a free hit. But the qualifying stages were so nerve-wracking. You know what I mean? But exciting. It was, and when we got there, it was just magic. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. And again, like you, I hope we win, but I won't be too gutted if we don't. I've thought of a scenario actually where I would actually be quite happy to see Rangers get beat. If it's the final game of the season and Kelly are still in the hunt for the title and we're playing them, and if Kelly win, they win the league and we're out it, I would be happy for Rangers to lose in that situation. I must admit, but if it stops Celtic winning the league, I would accept it then. But that's the only time I think.
It sounds a wee bit like Celtic v Aberdeen last game of the season last year.
Oh, they don't. See,
that one.
We would lose honestly though. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be a stitch up like that was last year. We would lose because Kelly would be the better team. Anyway, sure. We've only lost one of our 13 games in Europe, and that was against Spartak, that fiasco over in Moscow. But tellingly, we've only won 5 in total out of this game. As I said earlier, there's been a lot of draws, and only one of the victories we've had has been in the group stages. I would say that adds evidence to the fact that we're lacking a wee bit in terms of creativity from middle to front. If we don't get through, on Thursday. Do you think that's what's cost us?
No.
No?
The defending in Moscow is what cost us, unfortunately. I think, okay, at Ibrox, fair enough, we maybe should have scored against Spartak and probably against Villarreal as well to take some more points at the group section. But I think that the defending in Moscow was absolutely atrocious, and that's what probably cost us a win, as well as poor refereeing. Clearly, if Morelos' goal had stood and we went into half-time 4-2 up, then it's a completely different game. But no, I don't think creativity in Europe's been a big issue. I mean, it's a different type of game and quality than what we're used to domestically. So I think we've done quite well on that front. And I'm hoping on Thursday against Rapid that it'll be a different game as well. I mean, they're not going to sit in. I'm not exactly sure if they need to win or if a draw's enough for them, but I'm actually quite pleased that we know we have to win. We don't have to try and sit and look for a draw, and we know we need to try and take the game to them and try and take any opportunities that come our way. Arfield will be back, Morelos will be back, and I'm feeling quite confident, actually. Like you guys, if we don't do it, it's not the end of the world, but I definitely prefer we did. Just the feel-good factor's fantastic for the fans. I think morale's good for the players. Not just that, if you're still in Europe after Christmas and we need to sign a player or two, I think it looks good if we've got in the latter stages of the Europa League to still be involved in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sure, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
And financially as well. I mean, if you're guaranteed at least one more home game, I mean, clearly Ibrox has been absolutely packed for all the games so far, and the money that's coming in this season is the board must be delighted with that. It's a big help, and given our financials didn't make for great reading the other week there. So yeah, I think we want to win. It's not like we're going to go through and then have to play another 6 group stage games. We've only got another 2 games probably maximum to fit in, and I'm sure we can manage that. So yeah, I'm hoping we win, and I think we're capable of it. The form in the last couple of games has been poor, but domestically we've never been fantastic this season, and European matches we seem to sort of take it up a level, the away game in Moscow aside. So fingers crossed we can do it this week.
You're getting me up for this now, Stuart. I was kind of approaching it in a, well, if we get through, if we don't, I'm not really that bothered. Now, you've got me all fired up now. I'm ready to go, and it's only Monday.
I did say I was all man, mate.
Aye, well, I'm not going to disagree. Christine, Stevie G said on Sunday, again, going back to his post-match comments, that, he was sort of quite critical of some of his players, and he sort of made a comment along the lines he would have to pick a team on Thursday that he thought he could trust to do the job. So with that in mind, who do you think he's going to go with?
Well, I guess I'd say McGregor.
But,
that's a wee joke. I think his central defence is going to be telling. I think he'll go for Goldson and Macaulay.
You think so? To be honest with you, I know he's quite old, but I've been quite impressed with Macaulay.
Mm-hmm, me too.
I would like him to go back and try the Katic Goldson.
I don't think he'll do that for Thursday.
No, but I'm talking.
Well, so would I.
Yeah, but
if we're talking about Thursday, Tav's obviously in there. Left back's going to be interesting, isn't it?
So it's another position he tinkers about with too much.
Yeah, I think it'll be Halliday or Barisic, but whether Barisic is fully match fit or not to be able to, go 90 minutes is debatable. I think maybe Ryan Jack will play. I think Morelos. I'm trying to get the easy ones here.
I think Candias will be in there.
I think he'll put Kent in as well, and I've probably put Ajaria in. I just think he's got a wee.
No, Ajaria. Oh.
I know. Well, I don't think so either, but he seems to have a real high regard for Ajaria.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ejaria.
I think he should go with. I think I would go with a midfield three, and maybe Koulibaly, Jack, and Arfield. Something like that. Anything to keep Ejaria. That's team, to be honest with you. You know, you get dizzy watching them. You know what I mean? He just goes round in circles.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's just me. I think obviously Morelos will start. I'm not sure about Middleton. I don't know if he'll go with Middleton, but I think Candias will done.
I think he'll go with Kent.
Well, it depends if he's saying that he felt something on Sunday. You know, if he
say that? Sorry, I was not up to date with that.
Stuart was saying earlier on, that's why he took him off. He felt a wee twinge. So I suppose it depends how serious that is. But I would like to see Kent in there. But yeah, as long as McGregor's playing, I think we've got a chance. And Stuart, coming back to you, I think you've already answered this. If we don't, if we don't make it through, do you think it's the Moscow games that have cost us?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, the game at Ibrox, I think we played fairly well without being outstanding. Perhaps did enough to win the game, but unfortunately, the away game over there was just it was incredible that match. To be honest, it had everything. Unfortunately, it was just the defending that let us down, and as I say, the match officials as well. To be fair to the team, if we go in 4-2 up at half time as we should have been, it's a complete.
Yeah, I think the game's done. No, it's done.
I think it would have allowed the manager to make a change. I think he'd have probably brought on another defensive midfield player. I think even with the two, sort of the third and the fourth Spartak goals being within like a minute of each other, I think that even then, if that hadn't happened, I think he probably would have changed the game, changed the team 3 each, and tried to see the game out and grab a winner ourselves. But unfortunately, they scored 2 goals in quick succession, and that sort of meant that Gerard had to try and keep the same team and try and get back into it and grab a goal. And by that time, we'd sort of blow ourselves out. But even in the last few minutes, we were unlucky not to score. Katic hit the post, didn't he? So we were unlucky. And it was the same. I think the Villarreal game at Ibrox was a bit different. I thought they played quite well. I was quite impressed with them. They looked after the ball very well, and obviously the Candias sending off completely changed the way that game.
Yeah, that's the point. Is Candias suspended for Thursday?
It will be. I'm assuming because we didn't appeal it, did we? So yeah, he will be. So
yeah.
That'll be interesting in that case who he goes with. I mean, I think Gersnet is certain to start again. I mean, I think we've got to persevere with him and keep playing him and try and get him up to match sharpness, which I think he's probably still lacking. I wonder if he'll play Lafferty on the left-hand side then, with Morelos up top. I think Lafferty is sometimes better coming off the left-hand side. Done a lot of good work for Hearts in that position. So, especially the fact the game's away from home. So, we do have a couple of options there. Again, I think I mentioned earlier, he might want to go with Halliday or at left back and play Barisic further forward. He might well do that. So we've certainly got options whether Diaz is available or not. So in terms of your original question, yeah, I think it's the Spartak games really that's cost us. But it's hard to be overly critical. I mean, as I say, we weren't expected to do anything in this section. Christine pointed out we were the lowest seeded team, so it was to be in with a shout. I think if we'd been told that we'd have the chance to win this game and qualify, we'd have all been happy with that. So let's just be happy with that, and let's support the team on Thursday. And there's a huge support going over. I think I read somewhere there's maybe 10,000 Rangers fans going over to Austria for the game, so it's going to be fantastic over there. I wish I was going. And these guys will get behind the team, and I sincerely hope our form's better, and it doesn't matter who plays, that they do the business and come away with the 3 points. Probably a draw is if you're a gambling man, the draw would probably be the best bet, but I don't see any reason why we can't do it. Just need to have that belief and and an ability, and our ability, and I think that's what's been missing the last couple of games, and that's where the manager and the senior players have to really apply that to the players that lack that self-esteem and say, come on, you can do it, and we can do it.
I think the game might suit Rangers because I think it falls into that category that we were talking about earlier on. You know, there's no pressure on them. It's a free hit. You know, it's all positive if they can do it. They've got a chance to really make a name for themselves, because you're right, at the start of the season, when they bit your hand off for this, you know what I mean, would have been happy just to get to the group stages. And as you, Christina, pointed out, we were fourth seed in the group, and we're going into the last game with a chance of qualification. So, you know, I think you have to be happy with the campaign overall. But if you go through, you know, based on your sort of rousing speech earlier on, sure, you've got me right up for it. Yeah, I'd be delighted with that. Right, final topic for this week, and it's the one that everyone's talking about. It's the referees. It's just been a horrific season for some absolutely shocking decisions. So we thought we would have a wee look at that. Christine, another shocker on Sunday with Lafferty's goal. Now, I know people are arguing that, you know, these things, you know, level themselves out. And I suppose you could say that because we got one the week before with Morelos. But I always think it's worse. See, if they don't see something, because, you know, everyone was going on about the Morelos one against Hearts being blatant, but not one of the commentators commentating on the game said, oh, that was offside, until they saw the slow motion replay, and then they're like, oh, he's offside. So it looked to me like that was a fairly easy one to miss from an official point of view. The one yesterday at Dens Park, you know, Lafferty's behind the ball. You know, it's a shocker. It's an absolute shocker. Is this, in terms of the seasons, is this the worst you can remember for referees getting it wrong? Because I have to admit, that's how it feels to me. It seems to me every week the performances for referees are shocking, and some of the decisions are coming away with are laughable.
Yeah, I think probably there's been a much higher profile with the mistakes. I think we've always had mistakes, but there's so many cameras, etc. And the likes of yesterday, I mean, the linesman was so far behind the ball as well. You know, when you saw his positioning, you had to wonder, well, how is he in a position to see?
He guessed. That's what he done.
Yeah, and, you know, it's just not good enough. But there's been some absolute stinkers, even just the last few weeks. You know, yeah, I didn't see the one that the Hearts penalty against, or the St Johnstone penalty rather.
Oh, that's
against Hearts, but from what everybody's saying, it was a complete joke, and that the referee's the only person that seems to have seen something. And he also did it, Andrew Dallas, he did it, and I think not that I watched the League Cup final, but apparently he got one very wrong in that one as well. So, but I think, you know, sometimes it's a wee bit unfair, because they only have the benefit of the one, you know, seeing it in real time, and depending on what angle that the referee's at, you know, it's not always possible to, you know, make a decision. But he's got his two officials as well that should be helping him here.
What you're saying there, I would agree with that, but to me, that's what makes some of the decisions even worse, because like that one yesterday, as you said, that the linesman is a good 3, 4, 5 yards behind the play, so he's not in a position and to make a call on it. And what the golden rule is, apparently, if you don't see it and you don't know, you can't make a decision on it. So if he can't make a decision on him being offside or not, he has to keep his flag down. And I'm honestly of the opinion the atmosphere was quite tasty in the first half yesterday, especially after the sending off, and that stand behind that goal were particularly vocal. And part of me wonders if he just thought, I need to stick this flag up in case I've got this wrong. You know, so it was a guess. I need to stick this flag up because if I've got this wrong, all these supporters are going to be giving me dogs abuse. You know what I mean? And I just wonder if that has influenced the decision, because he wasn't in a position to make the decision. To me, he guessed it. That's what he'd done. And I've seen that a few times this season where you think that referee or that linesman has not seen that. he is just taking a guess, and I think that's the fundamental problem.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right, and I think you're probably quite right when he was saying that. That was maybe what happened to Rangers last week. It's going through his head, and the abuse that the linesman got, and he just thought, oh, yeah, no, that's a great point, but it's not fair on us.
No, it's not. No, absolutely not. Stuart, how do we fix this? I know Christy makes a good point about, there's more focus on the referees, and that is valid. You've got cameras in every bit of the stadium these days, picking up every angle, and so there's more scrutiny, and when referees get it wrong, I don't think referees 20, 30 years ago were under the same amount of scrutiny. But that still doesn't excuse some of the decisions, in my opinion. So how do we fix it? How do we get better referees?
Investment. These guys are part-time, so of course they're not going to be fit enough to keep up with play. The guys that are earning 20 grand a week, training 5-6 days a week. So until you pay these guys decent money, then you're going to have substandard officiating. I mean, let's not mince the words. The refereeing and the guys that are the assistant referees, they're absolutely appalling. Name me one good referee in Scotland.
I can't, honestly.
There you go. I would say the best of the bunch, right? And you're going to laugh, and I don't believe you're laughing, is Willie Colin. And the fact that exactly your reaction says it all. But he is the best we've got, and he's no good enough. The statement Rangers released was right. People, of course, jumped on it and said that Rangers were saying he was biased against us. They weren't saying that. They were saying that the fact that he's got a history of acting the way he does, is the way he dishes out the cards. He doesn't take time to think about it. He just goes ahead. He's already got the card out before he approaches the player. That he does this for every team, and there isn't any bias involved here. There's no Masonic conspiracy. There's no Peter Lawwell paying off referees to give goals offside against Rangers. They're just rubbish for every single team because they're rubbish. They don't get paid enough. They're only part-time. So until you give the guys decent money, make them full-time, then you won't get a good enough standard. And I mean, you can point to England. The guys the officials are full-time down there. I don't think they're all that much better, but they are better. So I think it's one step. I think you're going to mention VAR next. I'm not convinced by that, but it's another way to invest money and to help these guys. Christine mentioned the fact that we've got the benefit of the replay after replay from angle after angle. These guys didn't have it. So I've got a lot of sympathy with them. I don't think they're good enough, but I sympathise. I mean, as a linesman, how can you look where the ball is and look where a man is? Your eyes don't operate independently of each other, so it's impossible. So anyway, you've got to help these guys out, and if it means technology, as long as the technology is used the same way for every team, then it might well be the way forward. Certainly on a trial basis, why not?
Well, I mean, I agree with you when you were saying you've got sympathy for referees, and I don't think any of us can deny it's a difficult job, right? But it comes back to that thing I was talking about earlier on. When they can't see it, they're guessing, and that's where I think that's when I get frustrated with them. You know what I mean? I just think you can't see that. You're just going on a guess, and I think Willie Collins one of the worst for it. I think he's done it a few times, And that's when I get frustrated. If they can't make a call, don't make the call. You know what I mean? Don't say, oh, I've heard the crowd roar, I've heard this, I've heard that. Players are in my face. If they can't see it, they shouldn't be making that call. And I think you find that when they are getting scrutinised, by pundits and all the rest of it, you hear a lot of pundits say the referee's position, he can't see that, he can't give it. And that's when I get frustrated. That boy yesterday could not see if Lafferty was offside or not. So he shouldn't be giving it. He should not be sticking his flag up. And that's where the frustration comes from me. That's when I get annoyed. But I agree with everything that you've said there, especially the part about it's a difficult job. But it's how they're handling that difficult job, I think, that frustrates a lot of supporters. You're right, though, Stuart. I'm going to raise the V word here. I'll put it to the two E's. VAR has been introduced. I think I've stated before on the podcast that I'm not a big fan. It's been introduced to the Premiership next year. I believe that BT have sort of cheekily offered the SPFL that they would, offer their cameras for VAR for the SPFL. Is it time for it to be considered up here? Christine, I'll come to you first.
I think anything that helps reduce the amount of controversy there's been, then yeah, I would say why not, if it's affordable. Probably isn't, but as long as it didn't take too long in between, whoever is having a look at it and spoil the game. But it didn't seem too bad in the World Cup when we're doing it in the World Cup. So I'm all for it, using technology. If it's going to help right wrongs, then fair enough.
Stuart, how do you feel?
To be honest, I didn't really know enough about it. I was on holiday when the World Cup was on, so I didn't see all the games. But I mean, was there video screens for the fans to see at all of the games? Because clearly we don't have that in Scottish football. We didn't have it at Dens Park. So, for example, taking that decision, the disallowed goal yesterday, the fans wouldn't know. I mean, the referee would stop. We would go to his fourth official or whoever, the VAR guys, and then we'd go and view it again, and then he would obviously have allowed the goal, but the fans wouldn't have seen it. So can you imagine the outrage if the opposite had happened and we had, it's fans need to be able to see, so you need to have the screens there. So there's more investment, and Dundee didn't have the money to put up big screens. So did they have these temporary ones brought in? Who pays for that? I also think that, I mean, you're only going to have it in the SPFL Premiership. You're not going to have it in the leagues further down. I don't think that's fair. So what happens like in the FA Cup or in the League Cup, things like that, when lower league teams, the game's live on TV, do they have it because BT's covering it or Sky's covering it? Do they not have it because other teams don't have it? Seems to me there's a big debate to be had. Generally, I would say I'm in favour. I'm not a big fan of tinkering with the rules of football. I think the sport survived 150 years without much changes, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with trying something out and seeing if it works. On the basis of yesterday, it would have been positive for us. So I guess, yeah.
But on the basis of last week, it would have went against us.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's the nature of the beast. So I would rather that. I would rather have won. Honestly, is the wrong word, but won correctly yesterday, and I would rather have drew correctly last week. At the same time, that bad decisions is part and parcel of the game. It creates controversy. It makes people talk about the game. So. Do you want to take that away? Do you want to sanitise the game completely? That every decision's observed after the fact, and then you have to every tackle, or that should be a booking, that shouldn't be a booking. Mistakes happen. Without mistakes, it wouldn't be a very fun game. But at the same time, I think Gerard's mentioned it. Craig Levine's mentioned it. There's people's livelihoods at stake here, so there's clubs' finances and futures at stake. So I think it's important we get these decisions right. And I'd much rather we got the 3 points, knowing that our goal was onside. And I think it's as simple as that at the end of the day.
I think you've raised a valid point there about the financial aspect and the impact that it has in clubs. And that's why there's so much controversy now. Again, 20, 30 years ago, when there wasn't so much money swirling about, I think people were more prepared to take decisions. Certainly, I spend many an evening sitting watching old sort of Rangers games for the 80s and stuff like that. And you see decisions, and you go, oh my God, how is that not a penalty? And then after it, Archie McPherson doesn't spend 10 minutes, going through the decision and how it wasn't a penalty. The ref doesn't give the penalty. That's a decision. You know what I mean? And I think money has changed that because, as you say, there's so much, there's such an impact in terms of the finances, if a club goes down or whatever based on these decisions and managers getting sacked. So people's livelihoods are involved in this. And I think that's what's ranked it up a wee bit. That's what's put the pressure on referees. When you add the fact that we get 50 replays from different angles, people within the game, managers and players have got more evidence to say you got that wrong, you got that wrong, you got that wrong. So I think that's what's raised it. But in terms of VAR, I'm with you. I'm not in favour of thinking about the game too much. I think in a lot of cases, all VAR does is add an extra layer of decision-making process. So someone thinks, well, that's a foul, and it goes to someone else and he says, oh no, it wasn't. And you're sitting there watching the telly going, well, actually, the first decision was right. You know, there's still decisions that you're never going to get total agreement on. And that's where I think VAR ultimately fails. You know, you could watch the same clip 100 times with 100 different people in the room and you'd get 100 different opinions. So I like the goal line technology because that's clinical. That's bang. There's no debate about that. It's over the line or it's not over the line. I don't think VAR has that. I still think there's a large grey area, and therefore, do we really need it? Does it actually improve things? I don't know if it does.
But that's why we test it. Let's give it a go. Let's do it for a season, or so let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, if there's too many faults, and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, if I think the referees are poor already, then having another two sitting in the stand examining the footage doesn't necessarily mean we're going to still get the right decision. I mean, I think even in the World Cup, I think there was times that the referee probably felt it was under that much pressure watching the replay that he had to change his mind when he probably got the decision right. I mean, I'm talking for
it happened in the final, Stuart. There was a penalty decision in the final that the referee called right. The VAR referee said, you need to take another look at this. Now, he knows when he's looking at that replay, the whole world's watching him. You know what I mean? And I do think he felt pressurised into changing his mind, and he was right with his original decision.
Yeah, because it's almost psychological. But on the other hand, in rugby, I mean, I've been watching some of the Autumn Internationals recently, and obviously the Six Nations in the last couple of years. They've had the TV referee for a few years now, and it seems to work very well in rugby. And I don't think it certainly isn't perfect. But I think it's worth looking at, and I don't think we'll lose out by doing it. And certainly, at the very least, you can say, well, we've done it for 6 months, we've done it for a season. It hasn't worked. This is why it doesn't work. The decisions haven't improved. It's too expensive. Let's just move on and leave it the way things are. Or you can say, well, the decisions have been improved. The managers are happy with it, so it's worth the investment. So let's give it a go. I don't think we've much to lose.
Right, that's all we've got time for in this week's Gersnet Weekly Podcast. Thanks for joining us and thanks for listening in. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please feel free to spread the word, tell everyone about us, subscribe to the YouTube channels or whatever forum that you're listening to it on. And again, feel free to get in touch with us and pass comment as long as it's constructive. A big thanks to Stuart and Christine, our guests tonight. Some top stuff from both of them. Big thanks to our audio engineer Graham, who I know is listening in, and he's always good for a laugh, Graham. The show next week, obviously we've got the game on Thursday against Rapid Vienna, and we've got the game at Ibrox on Sunday against Hamilton. So there'll be a show out next week about that. I think Ross is hosting. In the meantime, get yourself onto the Gersnet forums at www.gersnet.co.uk. Lots of stuff on there, lots of articles. There was a really good one about Alfredo Morelos last week. Trust me, get on that, get it read. It was an absolute belter. There's also the forums. Get on the forums, chat until it's a Rangers fan, like-minded people. It's all good and it's all fun. What else do you want, people? What else you want? So until next week, thanks for joining us.